Good morning. Welcome back to the Baz Does Football channel. It's never good when anybody leaves their job. Let's face it. Stevie Clarke signed a new deal, a new 4-year deal before the World Cup. But last night he tendered his resignation. Some say rightly so. A lot of us probably feel it's time that he did leave. But you've got to remember, but before Stevie Clarke came to be the Scotland manager, Scotland fans couldn't really give a toss about Scotland. He did bring back togetherness, he did get us to tournaments, and that's his remit as manager. To get you to tournaments, to get the nation to tournaments, to bring the nation together in a football sense. And the nation's never going to come together out with football. But enough about politics and the the state of the nation, as they say. We'll leave that to someone else. Stevie Clarke says in his open letter to fans, in time I will be able to reflect on 7 years, but one element that has given me the greatest satisfaction in witnessing the reconnection of our national team with our fans. The most emotional part of this goodbye is for my players, without whom we wouldn't have had any of the memories that we've accumulated from 2019. They deserve all the praise and adulation that they receive. They won't. Truly an honour to be called their gaffer. Thanks for having me, and good luck to my successor. Good luck to my successor. Who takes over from Stevie Clarke? Stevie Clarke, people say, had one good season at Kilmarnock, and he got this. He had Kilmarnock playing some good football. He worked with a fantastic manager before that, so you learn something from Jose Mourinho, don't you? But when it comes down to it, is the expectation of the Scottish nation and the Scotland fans somewhere that it shouldn't be? Scotland's got 3 points in this World Cup. We failed to get through to the last 32. 8 best placed third teams. We knew that we had to go out and we had to score at least 2 or 3 goals against the team that we played first. The whipping boys of the group, as some may say. When you look at the standings this morning, it doesn't make for a great read. We knew that we would get beat by Brazil. We knew that we would get beat by Morocco. Morocco did fantastic in the World Cup before. They did great things 4 years ago in the World Cup. They're the sixth best nation in the world. Yet, us as Scotland fans expected us to do something against them. Try and get a draw. Try and get a draw. And maybe we could have. 4 points would have got us through. 3 points would have got us through. But the goal difference of -3 is what killed any Scotland hopes. When you look at some of the other teams that got through in third place, Paraguay on 4 points, -2. Ecuador, the goal difference of 0 with 4 points. 4 points was really the marker. And it was a difficult group. Let's not it was always going to be, well, we're always up against it. And I feel for Stevie Clarke this morning, but you can understand why it was maybe time for him to go. 3 tournaments, is that enough for any manager? Or should have been given more time to try and get us to another tournament? Or has he taken this aging group of players as far as he can in a Scotland jersey? When you look at the teams that have gotten through to the 32, South Africa versus Canada, Netherlands versus Morocco, that'll be an interesting game. Germany versus Paraguay, that's an easy game for Germany. France, Sweden, oof, who will come out winners in that one? Belgium versus Senegal, that's not going to be an easy one for the Belgians. USA versus Bosnia Herzegovina, that's an easy one for the USA to get through in. Spain versus Austria, you're taking Spain for that one all day long. Portugal versus Croatia. Now that's an interesting one. Can the Portuguese do enough to get through against Croatia? Or Croatia, the team that they used to be? Remember, Croatia used to have a fantastic team in international terms. Brazil versus Japan. Japan. Now, that's obviously important to people on one half of Glasgow and see how far their Japanese players can get. But against Brazil, Brazil will be looking to get through that one. They would think it'd be easy, wouldn't it? It would be one of the biggest upsets of the competition if Brazil was to be put out by Japan. Let's put it that way. Ivory Coast versus Norway. You say that's a Norway one for that one. Mexico versus Ecuador. Battle of the South Americans, and then England. They always get an easy pass, don't they? An easy. They get it easy, and that's what annoys us as Scots. Do you know the England versus the Democratic Republic of Congo? Switzerland versus Algeria. That'll be a hard game for Switzerland. I'd take Algeria to go through on that one. Colombia versus Ghana. You're taking Colombia to go through on that one. Australia versus Egypt. Oh, Australia they'd be hoping to go through on that one. And then, yes, Argentina versus the other Dutch team, Capo Verde. Capo Verde with that really small population. Who says that you need a big population to succeed at football? A lot of football fans will say that, this is the fault of the SPFL. This is the fault of the Big Two in Scotland. It's not. The Scottish football players. The team was always a success. In the 70s and 80s, the team was more a success when there was more players playing in England at the top level. Is it the fact that there's a lot of Scotland players not really playing at the top level? You mean there are players playing in Italy, there's players playing in England, and there's players playing in the Championship in England. Maybe another manager will get more out of them. But the sad thing is that we're definitely coming home, and it's hard for the players because they've had to sit around since last week, since the game the other night, and wait and hope and pray to see if they could get through. But the sad state of affairs is that they won't. The hope of the nation is dead in football terms. What a shitty Sunday morning. Honestly. I just Where do we go from here? Who do we get in as the next Scotland manager? People have been saying Stevie Clarke. Look at the interview yesterday where a certain radio personality, Ewan Cameron says, bring in Ange Postecoglou. Is Ange Postecoglou the man to turn Scotland around? Can he get more out of the players? What Stevie Clarke did? Stevie Clarke got us to 3 competitions. He'll go down in history as a successful Scotland manager. Some fans might not see it because when it comes to getting to the big stage, the teams didn't really perform. Is that on the players or is it ultimately the manager? The manager is always one that gets sacked. Do we have the players coming through? It's an aging squad. A lot of these players that are at this World Cup will not see the next tournament. Where do we go from here? Tell me in the comments section. And thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. I hope to come to you with a better video in the next video. Maybe not talk about Scotland then, huh?